Welcome, Neo. As you no doubt have guessed, I am Morpheus.
It's an honor to meet you.
No. The honor is mine. Please, come, sit. I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole?
You could say that.
I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Filed on the record to uphold the Constitution and support it against all violators, foreign and domestic. Have you identified yourself, sir? You haven't. Now you can see your ID. Under threat, duress, and coercion, because I fear imprisonment and slavery. I'm complying, not because I want to, because you're forcing me with a gun on your head. I know you don't plan on using it, but that's your tactic to put me under duress. There goes your thing. Stop thinking young hoodlums don't got law game. We're about to put you in a butt. Come on, record it. And have you still gained your delegation of authority order? This is
everybody likes me on YouTube. I never saw this yours everybody, but I never saw him touch it.
That's an arrest. Go to the Black Law Dictionary. Detained is synonymous with arrest. Come on, man. Come on, man. We're gonna have fun with you in the courtroom. Do what you gotta do. This is beyond your Terry stop. This is unlawful search and seizure without due process. Let's go. You might want to call. Hey, I can carry call. It's bomb. Call whoever you gotta call. Call who you gotta call. I'm the sovereign king, and you're violating the rights of the sovereign king. Let's go. There's no problem, sir. There's no under whose authority and jurisdiction. The city of Los Angeles is a 12-page document that lives in Sacramento. Bring the city of Los Angeles. If I have a right to face my accuser, bring him out here so I can see him. But we know it's a corporate fiction. It don't exist. Gonzalez, can I take a snake on the plane? I can take a snake anywhere I want to go. Do I have natural rights as a flesh and blood man? Or are you taking those away? You're violating your oath of office to uphold the Constitution. Hey, let me tell you, this guy's 14. I'm gonna tell you how much legal game he got. He's about to give me a kick and a threat to arrest and coercion. What's the first thing we're gonna do? File affidavits declaring our nationality. What's the second thing we're gonna do? Where we gonna take those affidavits? We're gonna take them to the courthouse, and is the court or the prosecution gonna answer our affidavits? Why? Because they can't. Yes. And then since they don't file an affidavit, they don't respond to our affidavits. What do you do after that? You file a default judgment. This is guy giving you legal game. And you file your default judgment. We're gonna go into court. The judge is gonna colorfully ask us, how do we plead? What's the first thing we're gonna do before we answer that question? We're not going to ask if the court received the affidavit. We're going to just assume that they received them and ask them why they haven't responded. And then after we ask for the affidavits and we know they didn't respond, what's the next step we do? We demand for dismissal? How old are you? You 14? You demand for dismissal under what grounds? The judge is going to say denied. Under what grounds are you going to demand for dismissal? Lack of responding to an affidavit. Exactly. He's 14, he got more legal game than you. I'm 27. We're going to court. I trained him. He know he's coming. He already know he's coming. He already know he's coming. I don't concede. I'm not mad at you. You disrespect because you disrespectful. I'm asking your delegation of authority or to confirm by Congress. You didn't get it. That's called treason. The penalties of treason? Oh! Let's listen to him. The penalties of treason are what? Death by hanging is the penalty of treason. Listen to this 14-year-old kid with the red Yankees hat on. Where your homies at, man? You want to run back on phone number 909-520-7190. You might need Condoleezza Rice to call me or something. Donald Rumsfeld, you need somebody to call me. Because let me tell you, Martin Luther King did it wrong. Malcolm X did it wrong. Maurice is going to do it correct. If it's a citation, it's called a bill of attainder. It's not called a citation. But the thing is, they don't teach you that at the It ain't your fault. You're just doing your job. You're doing your job. Huh? I hope you give me a call. Like it's a legal game. Well, you have an oath to uphold the Constitution. You have a warning. Hey, stay over here. Stay over here.
Chris is leaving. I'm getting the car. I gotta call someone.
He's here on the card. On this one. That's the birthplace? You know, corporations are born, by the way. I'm a flesh and blood, air breathing man. Do you recognize me as a flesh and blood man in front of you? Okay. You recognize me as a flesh and blood man, and I have rights, correct? I have the right that are secured by the Constitution, the right of life, liberty, and pursuit of
You have
happiness.
the right to remain silent.
I do have the right to remain silent.
Yes, you have to exercise that.
I also got the right to continue to speak. Right?
Yes, you do. You have freedom of speech.
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna let you handle this case for me. Under Title 18, I forget the 1983, I'm gonna appoint you as a principal, as agent, to speak on my behalf in the court. And you are going to cross-examine him. You're going to cross-examine him. You're going to ask him, what's the first question you're going to ask him?
Or is he a police officer?
Is he a police officer? When was the last time we had a police officer on record?
The early 1990s.
1929 is the last time we had a police officer. 1929 is the last time we had a police officer. According to California Revised Statutes number 2, an officer is elected by the people of the state. Were you elected or hired?
I was sworn in.
You were sworn into office. Are you compensated?
Yes.
Okay, under the Clearfield Trust Doctrine, anyone who receive a compensation, they denote from any judicial status to a mere private corporation. And I have no contract with you, but I am going to comply with you.
Dang, it's a bunch of them. I'm scared.
Oh, I could have looked that up for you. I got a phone we can Google. I can look up the penal code and do that for you if you need me to.
There's a bunch of them.
Okay, here's some facts you need to know when you're being pulled over for a DUI. Okay, now, every time you're pulled over, you're technically being pulled over for a DUI because officers use what are called pretextual reasons to stop you. Ever since the court said that the police can pull you over for any reason at all, no matter what the pretext, your tag lights out, you weaved, anything like that, that gives them the authority to make a reasonable inquiry as to your driving. So what the cops do, when they walk up to the car, they're not really going to just write you a ticket and say, here you go, don't speed or don't weave or fix your tag light. They're using that as an opportunity to try to see if you've been drinking. So the problem is most people, usually when they go out to dinner or when they go to an event, will have a beer, maybe 2 beers or a mixed drink. Now, if you've waited a certain amount of time and the blood alcohol in your system is low enough that you're not impaired, you get in the car and you go home because nobody wants to drive drunk. But here's what happens. You get pulled over and the officer, having pulled you over for a pretext, walks up to you and usually the second or third question out of the officer's mouth is, have you been drinking? Now, if you answer yes, you are automatically going to go to jail for DUI. Because it doesn't matter what happens after that, the officer is going to charge you with DUI because you've given him the answer that he wants to hear to go forward with his investigation. Now, the first thing the officer is going to do is he's going to ask you to step out of the car. He's going to ask you to perform what are called field sobriety tests. Now, field sobriety tests are nothing more than divided attention tests. It's akin to rubbing your belly and scratching your head, or rubbing your belly, patting yourself on the head, or trying to play the guitar while you are doing high-level math exercise. It doesn't work, okay? There is a manual that's published by the federal government, and it's a manual of field sobriety tests. And this manual is the basis for all field sobriety tests. And what this manual does is it recommends 3 approved field sobriety tests. And they are the horizontal gaze nystagmus, which is where the officer places something in front of your eyes and does like this, and you're supposed to follow it with your eyes. The second one is the walk and turn, where you walk heel to toe down a line, and then you're to turn without losing your balance and walk back. And the last one is you stand on one leg and you count to 30. Now, something you need to understand is all of those tests are designed for you to fail them. They are not designed for you to pass them. And the person who decides whether or not you fail is the officer. But here's an interesting statistic. According to the National Highway Transportation Agency, 9% of people can't pass a field sobriety test at all. 9%. 12% cannot pass the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. 21% cannot pass the walk and turn test. And 17% cannot pass the one-leg stand test when sober. When sober. So if you're asked to do a one-leg stand test and you're cold sober, there's a 17% chance you're going to fail it even though you're sober. If you're asked to do the walk and turn, there's a 21% chance that you're going to fail it, even stone cold sober. And if you're asked to do the horizontal gaze nystagmus, there's a 12% chance that you're going to fail that stone cold sober. Now, the horizontal gaze nystagmus test is a very controversial test, and many states, including Alabama, do not allow its admission and evidence as proof of guilt. Now, officers try to sneak it in to claim probable cause, but it's bogus science. What it's based upon is the belief that as you move your eye, as you're moving your eye, if you're intoxicated, your eye flickers. Well, horizontal gaze nystagmus is one of those things that occurs in many circumstances, including situations where you have fatigue. At night, if you've been driving in the dark for a long period of time on the interstate and the white lines of the road are going by and the headlights are coming at you, that causes nystagmus too. So if you're pulled over at night, stone cold sober, and an officer sticks a pen in your face and does like this, you're not going to pass that test. First of all, the officer is the one that's going to be judging whether you pass it. And second of all, 90% of the time, if you've been driving for more than 3 hours at night, your eyes are already doing a really bad nystagmus simply because their eyes are fatigued. Light and dark extremes cause fatigue. So, if an officer asks you to step out of a car and perform field sobriety tests, you have the right to decline to do so. You don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to be aggressive. You just say, no, I don't want to do that. And he'll say, well, will you perform this nystagmus test? No, I don't want to do that. Will you perform this one-leg turn? No, I don't want to do that. Will you perform the one-leg stand? No, I don't want to do that. The officer's then going to hold up a little machine that fits in the palm of his hand, and it's called a PBT, a portable breath test machine. He's going to ask you to blow into it. Now, that PBT is inadmissible in court. It's not admissible at trial. But if you blow into it, you are going to give him another element of probable cause. Now, you don't have to do that either. You can say, no, I don't want to do that. Because no matter what happens, once he asks you to step out of the car, he's going to arrest you. He's going to put you in jail. He is going to fail your field sobriety test, and he's going to have you blow the PBT. And it doesn't matter what the PBT says, he's still going to arrest you. Because he's going to say, if you fail the PBT, he's going to say that you were drinking. And if you don't fail the PBT, he's going to use the field sobriety tests as the reason for you being arrested. So, what you've done is by refusing to do the field sobriety and refusing to do the PBT, you have prevented him from gathering evidence that you've been driving under the influence. Now, if the officer pulls you over and approaches your car, and he says to you, have you been drinking? And you answer no, you've further deprived him of a confession that you've been drinking. So if you say no, technically under the law, he has no further probable cause to go further with any investigation as to DUI. Now, he may say, well, I smell alcohol on you. Have you been drinking? You can still say no. If you haven't been drinking, and the sad fact is, a lot of police officers will say, I smell alcohol on you. Have you been drinking? Even when they don't actually smell alcohol. Now, if you've been out drinking and you had a glass of wine at dinner 4 hours earlier, and an officer says to you, I smell alcohol, have you been drinking? What are you going to do? You're going to go, oh my God, he can smell alcohol on me? I only had one drink. And then you're going to get all nervous. Don't get nervous. One drink at dinner, 4 hours before you drive home, is not enough for you to be driving under the influence. Okay? You've had plenty of time to have that alcohol process out of your system and metabolize, and your liver's already taken care of detoxifying it, and you've already urinated, and you're done. Okay? But a cop is going to say that very often just to throw you off, just to make you nervous. And then he's going to have you do these field sobriety. So if you haven't been drinking, or you've been drinking a long time before, just say no. And when he asks you to do field sobriety, just say no. And he asks you to do the PBT test, just say no. If he's gotten you out of the car to do field sobriety, he's going to arrest you for DUI. If he leaves you sitting in the car, he's not serious about any DUI arrest. But if he asks you to step out, assume you're going to jail, don't give the officer any evidence to convict you. Now, the last part of a DUI arrest involves the issue of the breath test machine. In many states, that's a machine called the Draeger. If you decline to take that test, most states will suspend your driver's license. Some for 6 months, some for 180 days, just depends. But some for a year. But if you take that test, you are now giving the police evidence of the blood alcohol in your system. If you decline to take the test, you are depriving the officer of the last piece of evidence that he needs to convict you. Now, you're going to have your license suspended if you do that. But in many states, the mere fact that you're arrested for DUI, your license is going to be suspended anyway. So keep that in mind as you are being asked at a police station to take a Draeger test or whatever breath machine test that they want you to take. If you don't take the test, you have effectively prevented the officer from gathering any evidence as to you being under the influence while driving a vehicle. So if you say no when you're asked if you've been drinking, and you have to be truthful. So if you haven't been drinking, or if you've been drinking hours before, no, I haven't had a drink. Number two, don't do the field sobriety tests. You're not required to do them. Number three, don't blow into the portable breath test, the little handheld. And number four, make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to take that breath test at the police station. If you take it and you have been drinking, then of course you're going to show that you have alcohol in your system. If you don't take it, then the license will be suspended most likely by your state Department of Public Safety or Driver's License Authority. But you will have deprived the officer of evidence against you. In cases where my clients are non-compliant, they don't answer the officer about alcohol, they don't take field sobriety, they don't do the PBT, and they don't do the breath test machine at the police station, clients of mine that have done that have 100% been found not guilty. So you need to think about those things if you get pulled over by an officer for DUI.
I can govern myself. And America is about self-government.
Donald Sullivan isn't your typical guy. The retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel voted for Ron Paul in the recent election and says our government has gotten too far away from the republic our forefathers founded.
We don't have control of our own property anymore, our own lives, or our own anything. The state regulates and taxes everything.
Sick of the government micromanaging his life, Mr. Sullivan staged a unique form of protest. There's no state-issued license plate on his truck. You won't find an inspection sticker either. Sullivan says he doesn't need them, and he's been driving around without them for the last year and a half.
But I wanted to get a ticket, and I wanted to have the vehicle impounded, and I wanted to be arrested. Because you have to have standing in a court to pursue these kinds of questions.
He finally got his wish. A trooper pulled Mr. Sullivan over in January, and the case was recently heard in court. The judge denied Mr. Sullivan's motions regarding the court's jurisdiction over him, but found him not guilty of the driving offenses in question. Mr. Sullivan says it was a huge victory and says the next time he's pulled over, all he has to do is show the officers the paperwork with the court's not guilty finding, and he's off the hook. But the lawyer we asked says not so fast.
The court made a determination, for whatever reason, that the state had not proved beyond a reasonable doubt that which they had to prove someone guilty. What happened in this case is particular only to this case. What occurred on the roadway when the trooper cited him. What happened in this courtroom has no bearing whatsoever on what could happen in any future instance on the road.
While Mr. Sullivan raises some interesting questions about individual liberties, Attorney Griff Anderson says this was a very unusual case, and when it comes to driving, the law is clear.
This has been challenged in the courts, and routinely North Carolina courts, U.S. courts, other states have upheld the right of the state to regulate the way people travel. They can't prohibit people from traveling on public roads, but they can regulate it by requiring licenses, license plates, and people to have insurance.
You got out?
Yes, you got out. Tiva.
Tiva 99.
What seems to be the problem, policy enforcer? Tiva. Shh. Night night. Tiva. Baby. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Shut up. Policy enforcer, is it true that you're wearing a hidden microphone on your person? And is you recording everything that I'm saying? Tiva. Okay, baby.
Oh, let me get my mic then. Wait a minute. Oh my God.
Mommy, put your seatbelt on. Sit down.
Put your seatbelt and sit down. Put your seatbelt.
Sit down.
Come put your seatbelt back here. Sit down. Don't move. Stay there.
Night night. Shh.
All right, what's going on?
Is it policy enforcer? Is it true that you're wearing a hidden microphone on your person and you're recording everything that I'm saying? Baby.
It's right here, but there's the microphone.
Policy enforcer, is it true that if I ask you to write down every question I'm going to ask you, that you're required to write down in your narrative report?
Okay.
No answer? Policy Tiva, baby. Okay, baby. Policy enforcer, is it true that your department has a written policy that if anyone commands you to call your supervisor that you're required to do so at the risk of losing your job?
I can call my supervisor if that's
Baby.
what you request. Where are you reading from, sir?
Policy enforcer, do you know that demand is defined as a claim or a legal obligation?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, policy enforcer, do you know that demand is defined as a claim or legal obligation?
Okay.
Under what authority are you acting?
I didn't see your license and registration.
Under what authority are you acting?
I didn't see your license and registration.
Is this a transaction of security interest? If not, you will not be generating any obligation upon me to pay or perform, so there's no reason for us to be talking. And if it is, you need my consent for that, and I do not give my consent to your transaction of security interest.
I need your license and registration.
In regards to my driver's license, registration, and insurance, are you willing to claim under full commercial liability that I have an obligation to have such a thing to exercise my common law right?
License and registration.
Let's get your supervisor.
I now demand you call your supervisor. Policy enforcer, do you know that drive is defined as one employed in conducting a coach and carriage or other vehicle? Beauvair's Law Dictionary, 1914 edition, page 940.
License and registration.
Policy enforcer, do you know that the privilege of using the streets and highways by the operation thereon of motor carriage for hire can be acquired only by permission or license from a state or its political subdivision? Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, page 920. Policy enforcer, do you know that the statutory requirement that license be procured for motor vehicles used upon the highways based on the servitude put on the highways by such use and the advantages which the improved highways may afford the business which a motor vehicle is employed? Patterson versus Southern Ryco, 198 SE 364-214 NC 38. Are you gonna call your supervisor? 'Cause I demanded it.
Are you done?
No, I'm not done.
Okay, I'm listening to what you have to say.
Policy enforcer, do you know that no statutory duty lies to apply for or to possess a driver's license for personal travel and transportation as persons not within the class or of persons for whose benefit or protection the statute was enacted? Roof v. Quinn, 20 Cal 2D 488. Policy enforcer, do you have an oath of office? Do you have an oath in office?
Go ahead, finish your question.
Do you have an oath of office? Are you acting in accordance with the oath that you took? What is that oath?
Is that all your questions?
No, it's not all my questions.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Policy enforcer, do you know that the operation of a motor vehicle upon the public streets and highways is not a mere privilege?
You got some questions?
Is not a mere privilege.
Oh yeah, he asks these questions all the time.
I'm listening to all of his questions.
Baby, okay, baby.
Let me speak. We're letting him speak.
Policy enforcer, do you know that the operation of a motor vehicle upon the public streets and highways is not a mere privilege, but a right or liberty protected by the guarantee of the federal and state constitution? Adams v. City of Pocatello, 416 PD 2. Baby, okay, baby. No, I need you to call your supervisor too. Go ahead and call up your supervisor. I demand you call your supervisor.
Okay.
It's a legal obligation. Tiva, baby. Okay, baby. Okay, baby. Okay, baby.
Night, Tiva.
Okay, baby. Baby. Okay, baby. Baby.
Night.
Baby.
Night, Tiva.
Policy enforcer, do you know that Article 6 of the United States Constitution states, this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made thereof shall be supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution and the laws of any state to the contrary, not one word withstanding.
Are you done?
Not even close. Policy enforcer, do you know that those in government are bound by the supreme law? The senators and the representatives, members of the several states legislators, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. Are you supporting the Constitution right now?
Do you have more questions, sir?
Policy enforcer, do you know that where a private statute exists of which the intent is to regulate the regulation of commercial common carriers, a particular agency enforcing that private statute shall not apply it by trickery or deceit to persons who are not noticed by the statute as persons regulated and taxed, nor shall it permit any party to do so in violation of the person's right to stay out of compelled license contract when he is not a person subject to the statute unless clearly within his words. State versus Evershart, 179 P853 246 P2D 1011. Policy enforcer, I demand again, do you have an oath in office, and where is your honor to that oath? I know they're not, but I need them to call the supervisor. Policy enforcer, do you know that the distinction is made clear? I got this officer over here trying to take private numbers off my vehicle. Do you have a business card? Both of you do. Can I get your business card?
No, let me do my job. I'll give you a business card.
No, I need a business card.
You can wait. You can wait.
My time is precious to me, sir.
My time? Your time?
You right now, you're interfering with my rights to travel.
Well, guess what? You're under the traffic stop.
Call your supervisor up. I need to speak to your supervisor. That's a legal obligation.
Legal obligation?
Yeah, it's a legal obligation. Policy enforcer, do you know that article?
You listen to his questions. Listen to his questions there, and I'll go back.
No, you didn't listen to my questions. These are new questions.
Oh, you got another question?
And you the one who pulled me over.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking to you. I know you pulled me over before.
Yeah,
I know. And you already know. You already know what Grady Grimes told you. You know what Grady Grimes already told you. I know you do.
I didn't pull you over.
Yeah, you pulled me over.
I'm saying not now.
No, I know. I'm saying, but the officer that did pull me over is running away. Now we finished answering my questions. You're obligated to answer these questions. Do you understand that? Do you realize you're a public servant? Okay.
But do you realize you're underneath the traffic stop?
No, sir.
Where do you get those questions?
From the law. Do you not follow the law?
What law?
Do you not follow the law, sir?
Actually, to be honest with
You don't know the law. I know.
you, I'm actually out here serving and protecting you guys.
You're not serving protecting me by harassing me for traveling when it's my common law right. So by harassing me for just traveling,
So where's your license plate?
it's right back there. You didn't see it?
Yeah, but that's not a valid license plate.
If let them know I request a supervisor.
Hey, she's talking to him now.
I hope so.
Lieutenant Grimes ain't out here today.
It's okay. Get the one above him. It don't matter. Whoever's above you, whoever is above Grady Grimes, Lieutenant Grady Grimes, get them to come down. Have no problem.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Sit down, my man. What you saying, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Come on, mommy.
Sir, I'm out. I need you to step out of the vehicle, according to my supervisor.
So I'm being detained?
Yes, sir.
Under what law?
Step out of the vehicle, sir. Per my
Under what?
supervisor. You asked me to call my supervisor.
Yes, I did. And I want him here so I can speak to him.
That's not what you asked. You told me to call him. Step out of the vehicle.
I require a supervisor, ma'am. I require a supervisor.
Step out of the vehicle, sir.
Are you threatening me? Are you going to threaten me with violence?
Step out the car.
Are you going to threaten me with violence?
Step out the car, sir.
Are you going to threaten me with violence?
Sir, can you please step
I demand you call your supervisor. That means she needs to come to the scene and see what's going on.
Sir, step out the car.
I demand you call your supervisor.
Step out the car, please. Don't make it harder than what it is, sir. Step out the car.
Don't touch nothing. Policy enforcer, is it true
Step out the car,
that
sir.
your department has a written policy that if anyone demands you to call your supervisor that you're required to do something, so you're doing your job, losing your job. I demand your supervisor to show up to the scene.
Step out the
That's
car,
different
sir.
from what you said the first time, sir. Open the door.
Step out the car.
I will do nothing voluntarily. I will do nothing voluntarily. If you wish to threaten me with violence, threaten me with violence.
Step out the car, sir.
Sir, you need to step out of the vehicle.
I will do nothing voluntarily. If you wish to threaten me with violence, let it be known so I can get it on my recorder.
Sir, step out the car. You have a child in the car. Step out the car.
Policy enforcer, do you know that the distinction is made clear in Title 18 USC 31? A motor vehicle means that every description or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purpose of the highways and the transportation of passengers or passengers. I'm not stepping out of nothing. I'm not doing nothing voluntarily.
Step out of the vehicle.
If you wish to threaten me with violence, let it be known.
There's no violence. We want you to step out the car.
I just need you to step out.
Well, I will do nothing voluntarily. Call your supervisor up. Call your supervisor up. Tell him he's needed on the scene.
Step out the car.
Tell your supervisor he's needed on the scene. Write it straight away. Are you refusing? Are you refusing to call your supervisor and tell him to come on the scene?
You asked it first, sir.
Are you refusing to call your supervisor and have him report to the scene?
I called my supervisor for you, sir. You asked that. I did it.
Well, now call him again and tell him let him be known that I require that he be on the scene.
I gave you enough respect to do it the first time, okay? I listened and I called, okay?
Well, I'm asking again. Well, now I'm asking
you to get out of the vehicle.
And I will do nothing voluntarily. If you wish to threaten me with violence, let it be known for the camera.
I wish that you would get out of the vehicle is what I'm asking you. Step out of the vehicle, sir.
Step out the vehicle.
I demand you call your supervisor onto the scene.
Get out the car.
Are you refusing?
Yeah.
Also, you're a public servant.
Refusing to call the supervisor. Step out the car.
Well, again, I will do nothing voluntarily. If you wish to threaten me with violence, let it be known. And now I'm telling you that he needs to be on the scene.
Step out.
I'm telling you that he needs to be on the scene. I request that your supervisor be on the scene.
You me to direct you to get out of the vehicle. Okay?
And I'm directing you.
The vehicle. He's not able to come at the moment, obviously.
That's not my problem. That's not my problem.
Either get out of the vehicle.
Now, do you realize you're a public servant?
Get out of the vehicle.
Do you realize that you're a public servant?
You need to step out of the vehicle, sir.
099.
Are you willing to threaten me with violence? Because I will do nothing voluntarily.
Sir, you need to step out of the vehicle.
I demand you call your supervisor onto the scene.
Joey, they do violence. I'm scared for you.
Don't worry. They're gonna put my daughter's life in jeopardy. I'll sue all of them. They all owe me money. You better talk to Grady Grimes. I suggest you contact Grady Grimes. Either you let me go on my way, or you call your supervisor onto the scene. He's calling the supervisor right now. Let him know I need him on the scene right straight away. He needs to report here. He's a public servant, and the public is requesting that he show his face.
You're putting gloves on for some reason.
I demand your supervisor report to the scene. Are you gonna get your supervisor to report to the scene?
Step out of the vehicle, sir.
I will do nothing voluntarily. Are you threatening me with violence?
I need you to step out of the vehicle, sir.
Am I being detained?
I need you to step out of the vehicle.
Am I being detained? And if so, under what law are you acting?
Until you listen to my questions and do what it says, I will answer other questions.
There's no law that says I'm obligated to do what a public servant says. There's no law. Let me know what law says that I'm obligated to do what a public servant says.
You need to step out of the vehicle.
So you're not truly protecting no one's laws, legal rights, huh? You're just trying to generate revenue for someone, huh? Did you take an oath in office?
Step out of the vehicle, sir.
You're wasting your breath. So either call your supervisor here or get violence, okay? Because I will do nothing.
We don't need violence, sir. I don't know why
Exactly.
you're saying that.
Because that's what you want to do. You want to resort to violence. You want to resort to violence. I'm just trying to travel on my way.
Peacefully step out of the vehicle is what I'm asking.
You asking and I'm denying. You're asking and I'm denying. And I'm asking you, what you're illegally obligated to do is call your supervisor onto the scene.
I called him.
Can you step out the vehicle?
I need you out of the vehicle.
Don't you open no doors,
Can you
man.
step out the vehicle?
Why?
We need you out of the vehicle.
Why? She being detained? Under what authority?
Step out the vehicle.
Am I being detained?
But can you step out the vehicle, man?
Ignore him, please. Just ignore him. They're
But
dealing
am
with
I
me.
being detained?
Hey, they cannot deal with you. They gotta deal with me. You've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong.
Ma'am, are you gonna step out?
Am I being detained?
Can you step out the vehicle?
But can you answer my question?
Is she being detained?
Step out the vehicle.
Am I being detained?
But
And if so, under what law? Under what law?
Step out of the vehicle.
Under what law? Then I'm free to go. If I'm not being detained, I'm free to go. Am I being detained?
I need you to step out of the vehicle.
Am I being detained? Because if I'm not being detained, I'm free to go.
Sir, it's a traffic stop. You're not free to go. I need you to get out.
So under what authority are you acting?
That is correct.
Under what authority are you acting?
I pulled you over due to your license plate, sir.
And what law says I require this?
Hey, Sergeant's on his way.
Good.
So where they gonna take me to?
They can't.
Why?
Because no crime has been committed.
Where's your license plate?
You don't see it in the back there?
Where's your Florida issued license
I don't
plate?
require that.
By what law do you not require that?
No, you tell me what law I am required to do.
Sorry, sir, I asked the question first.
And I'm not obligated to answer your questions.
What law are you not
Every question that I asked you, you didn't even answer one. So that's telling me you committed fraud. You're a fraudulent person. You're not an officer of the law. You're fraud. You committed fraud. Stop committing fraud against me. I'm just trying to live my life peacefully. I'm a peaceful man trying to head home. Why are you bothering me? Answer these questions, and truthfully, under oath. Claiming full commercial liability. Under what authority are you acting? You can't even answer me. Under what authority are you acting?
I don't want them to take me.
They cannot take you.
I have no idea.
It don't matter. They cannot take you. All they can do is try to take me. That's it. And they can't. And they do that is through force.
You're saying you can't take me. How you gonna say it?
Because you gotta commit a crime. You committed no crime.
Yeah, back then he did.
I didn't get out the car.
But I can't read the VIN. I just got it with the VIN.
I didn't get out the
But
car.
I can't recall the name offhand. I know he lives like down the road there. He got 10-15 one time, reference to 49 also. I believe it was like National Court. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But I asked her several times to step off the vehicle. She's refusing also to step off the vehicle.
Under what obligation is she mandated to step out the vehicle? Is she being detained? Am I being detained? And if so, under what authority?
All right, but seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
All jokes aside.
There ain't no one joking here. You two are joking.
Not even a joke.
You two are joking.
How about you just step out the vehicle?
How about you get away from my vehicle and wait for your sergeant to get here?
How about you just step out the vehicle?
I'm done with you, man. Unless you want to answer my questions, claiming full commercial liability to these questions, that your answers, I have nothing else to say to you.
Just step out the vehicle. Just make it easier than what it has to be. Why are you making it more difficult?
No, you're making it difficult because you're violating my common law right.
Why you just can't step out the vehicle?
For what? So you can handle me and use force against me?
Sir,
use the force now. Use the force now.
What force you want me to use?
I don't know. Whatever force you feel you gotta do.
We're asking you to step out of the vehicle.
For what purpose?
I just need to step out the vehicle.
For what purpose?
Talking peacefully.
We're not talking peacefully. You wanted me to get out so you can put your hands on me. Ain't no peace in your mind. Ain't no peace in your mind. So stop tricking me. Stop being a fraudulent person. Just give me your business card and his business card too, since he wanted to arrive on the scene, and we'll deal with it that way.
Step out of the vehicle and I'll give you my business card.
No, I'm not obligated to step out, but you're obligated to give me your business card. So run and retrieve it from me right now.
By what law is that, sir?
Public servant law. You must identify yourself.
I'm Deputy Roberts.
No, I asked for your business card. I don't want to hear it out your mouth. You're a fraudulent person, so give me your business card. I don't deal with fraudulent stuff.
So are you fraudulently telling me you're not giving me a name? Who are you, sir?
I am administrator and director. That's who I am.
Is that your birth given name? Administrator and director?
That's my title.
What is your name? I didn't ask a title.
And I asked for a business card, but you're refusing to do it. You obligated public servant. I'm obligated to nothing. Policy enforcer, do you know that the distinction is made clear in Title 18 U.S.C. 31? A motor vehicle means every description or contrivance or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes on the highways and in the transportation of passengers or passengers and property, and used for commercial purposes means the carriage of any person or property for any fare, fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, or directly or indirectly in connection with business.
Okay, sir, listen, I'm going to tell you right now that my sergeant's on his way here, okay? So we're not going to answer any more questions.
Yeah, because you don't want to, because you can't.
Put your hands on the wheel so we can see them at all times so we know that you're not doing anything. Okay, or you can play the game, that's good. Okay? So you just sit there.
I'm not obligated to do nothing you say.
That's correct.
Obligated to do nothing.
Okay,
You obligated to do what I say.
Please. Just sit right there.
Do you know the law?
Hey, you did say you want our sergeant to come out here. You say you want our supervisor to come out.
I want a supervisor on the scene.
Which we are having him come out. Okay? So if he just basically relax.
I'm relaxed.
We relaxed here.
Okay.
Once he comes out, then you deal with what you have to deal with at that point. Okay? But like I said, sir, it would have been a lot easier if you just stepped out the car.
How easier on you to generate some revenues against me? It would be easier for you, right?
Just indicating.
It would be easier for you.
It would be a lot easier for all of us if we just have stepped out the car.
It would be easier if you leave me alone and stop harassing me. That would be easier for me.
Sir.
I'm not trying to make your job easier because all you're trying to do is generate revenue. And I'm not obligated to no revenue.
To be honest with you, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know you don't. So what I suggest you do, I suggest you go get a Black's Law Dictionary and study up on the law, which you're supposed to be enforcing. Not arbitrary stuff.
Maybe that's a good idea, sir. But you know what? It would have been a lot easier if you stepped off the car. And you're refusing to step out, right, man?
Under what obligation does she need to step out?
To you, sir.
Under what obligation?
You're not the man here. Keep your mouth shut for a second, please.
Ask him if you're being detained.
Ma'am.
I just want to know if I'm being detained.
It's not detained. I'm just.
So then she's free to go. Then she's free to go. Say it.
So I'm free to go?
Yeah, if you step out the car.
No, she won't step out the car.
You just asked me a question. If you want to step out the car, that.
Don't you step out the car. They're full of tricks.
You have a child in here.
Yeah, you're right. I got a child in here. Why are you trying to endanger her life right now? By committing fraud. You committed fraud. You're trying to endanger my daughter's life.
I'm not saying that
my daughter's life you're trying to endanger with your fraud.
It'd be easier for you.
Go bother someone else with your fraud. No, you're not asking me questions. You're trying to demand things of me, and you have no right to demand nothing of me. You have nothing. The public service cannot demand nothing of me. You're a public service. I demand stuff of you, and then you obligated to do what I say. Okay, public servant. Do you realize that, public servant?
Like I said,
do you realize that?
You're not being detained, man.
Huh?
You're not being detained. You can step out the car.
Am I being detained? And if so, under what authority?
Yeah, I already said that.
Under what authority?
traffic stop.
No. I said under what authority? You must not know your job, so I suggest you research your work. I said under what authority? What law are you claiming against me?
Florida law right now. You're under a traffic stop for your vehicle test.
What title? What title? What chapter? What section? What subsection? What page? What book? Let me know.
Later. Well, you can go to the library.
No, you need to go to the library. I don't need to go to the library.
Okay.
You committed fraud. You committed fraud. Fraudulent activities. Fraudulent people dressed up as law enforcement. They're not even law enforcement.
You heard, man?
Fraudulent people.
It'd be a lot easier if you step up the car yourself.
Hey, just ignore him. Ignore him. Pay him no mind. You said your sergeant's on the way? Go back to your squad car and I'll wait for him.
Don't tell me what you do, sir.
Hey, you're a public servant.
Tell me what you do.
You're a public servant.
Like I said,
you're a public servant. I just told you to call your supervisor, you did it.
Sir.
I just told you to call your supervisor, you did it. I told you to tell your supervisor to come here, and you did it. I tell you what to do, public servant. I'm the public.
Don't tell me what you do, sir.
Just ignore him, answer no more of his questions, look forward, pay him no mind.
Ma'am, are you sure you don't want to step out this vehicle?
There he is.
Pay him no mind.
Yeah, I asked you a couple times already now.
Somebody gonna take me upstairs.
They cannot take you. Okay? Let it all go. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
They'll take me for not stepping out the car. You can take me for not stepping out the car.
No, they cannot. They need to tell you what they're detaining you for. Okay? They need to tell you what you're being detained for. Not, it can't be over fraudulent activities.
Just stepping out the car. Not stepping out the car.
What?
You're not stepping out the car.
No. Come on, man. Listen. Let it all go, please. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
Now, they let me know they'll probably come to the house.
Again, let it all go. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. What seems to be the problem, policy enforcer?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Doing pretty bad. I got fraudulent people claiming to be law enforcement.
All right, well, I guess I'm one of them too then. I'm Corporal Green with the Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
And who are you?
First, I would like to ask you my questions. And
I'm asking the questions here because
no,
I'm
sir.
a person of authority.
I know. No.
You
What?
got stopped for not having
Authority over who, sir?
Huh?
Authority over who?
Over the U.S. government.
Over the U.S. government?
Yeah, the U.S. government.
You sure?
Are you a veteran, sir?
No, I'm no veteran.
I am.
Oh, okay.
So unfortunately, I've given you the right to do what you're doing, which is against the law.
No. What law? What law are you claiming?
The law of the United States.
No, sir. What title? What title? What chapter? What subsection? What section? What page?
Okay, what law gives you the right to do what you're doing?
Well,
title? What chapter? What subsection? What page?
Policy enforcers, do you know that the distinction is made clear in Title 18 U.S.C. 30? I'm gonna start from the beginning, sir.
Can I see that?
And that's my property. I will not relinquish my property. Policy enforcers, is it true that you're wearing a hidden microphone on your person that you're recording everything that I'm saying?
I'm not hidden. It's right here. You can see it.
Policy enforcers, is it true that if I ask you to write down every question, sir, please don't lean on my window, sir. Please don't lean on my mirror.
I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. I don't know.
That's my property, sir. That's my property. So you violated my property.
You're violating my property by not having a tag.
Okay. Policy enforcers, is it true that if I ask you to write down every question I'm going to ask you, that you're required to write down your police narrative report?
No.
Okay. Fraudulent activities. Committing fraudulent activities. Policy enforcers, is it true that your department has a written policy that if anyone demands you call your supervisor, that you're required to do so at the risk of losing your job?
He's on his way.
I thought you was the one.
Well, what are your rights when you're approached by a police officer? Do you have to hand over your identification? Well, these are questions we looked into today after a man believes his rights were violated in Lancaster County. CBS 21's Jenny Joyce is live tonight with the Lancaster County Mobile Newsroom in East Hempfield Township with more on this story. Jenny.
Well, Tanya, the man tells us he was standing on a bridge overlooking Route 283 taking photographs. Police pulled up, asked the man for ID. He refused, and multiple laws were tested.
You have any ID on you? I do, but I don't have to show it to you.
That response
I do, but I don't have to show it to you.
by 25-year-old Jason Macchione of Hershey agitated an officer from Northwest Regional Police Department.
Okay, this is the game we're going to play.
Macchione, who is standing on the Mount Gretna Road Bridge taking pictures when police pulled up around midnight, recorded his interaction with officers. It's earned more than 18,000 hits on YouTube, but the decision to record was not popular with police.
I know my rights, so I'm just...
No, you don't know your rights because, listen, your rights are you cannot video our voice if we don't want you to.
The officer claimed the videotape violated state wiretapping laws, but Northwest Regional Police Chief Samuel Gatchell admits his officers were misinformed.
When you're in a public place and the gentleman has a right to be in that location, he has all the right in the world to video and audio record you.
Chief Gatchell weighed in on the entire police incident.
I think mistakes were made on both sides.
Gatchell says if Macchione did not like the way the officers were handling him, he should have called a police supervisor immediately. Gatchell also admits the man was not at fault for failing to hand over his ID.
He was not violating the law by the mere fact he wasn't handing it over.
But the chief defends his officers for requesting proper identification. Gatchell says Macchione violated a parking law for illegally pulling over on the bridge and leaning over the bridge, which concerned at least one passerby enough to call police. Chief Gatchell says it is pretty standard for officers to ask for identification when they're walking into an unknown situation. Gatchell also tells us in this case, if officers decided to pursue a citation for Macchione's apparent illegal parking job and the man still refused to hand over his ID, he could have potentially...
No. All right, sit down, please, sir. Just speak. Pardon? Just speak. Just which? Key. I'm here to correct a mistake by the court. Well, first of all, if the court has made a mistake, are you Wilfred Keith Thompson? No, that's not what I normally go by, no. Can I see the information? Petition affidavit in terms of person legally speaking, sir. I've tried to clarify this a few times, but apparently the level of the topic. So your name is Keith Thompson? My name is Keith. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. You don't have a last name, sir? I have a family name, clan name, but that's irrelevant today. So you are not Wilfred Keith Thompson? Okay, one more time on and for the record, I am Keith. Nothing more. And sit down, sir. I'm looking for a Wilfred Keith Thompson. Please sit down, sir. Actually, please sit down, sir. Sorry. Can't do that. I served into the court this morning. Sir, I'm looking for a Wilfred Keith Thompson. You are not that person. Sit down, sir. Bailiff, please remove this gentleman from the courtroom. Thank you. That's the person you're looking for. Please, sir, that is the person. I'm trying to remedy things. Touch me and you will be tried. I'm a peace officer. You want to dishonor a court official? The defendant's on the bailiff's desk. Sir, are you here on behalf of Mr. Thompson? I said I was the administrator for that account. Are you here as agent for him? Could you guys please back up? Thanks. Are you here as agent for him? Not as agent, as administrator, much like you are administrator of this court. Sir, you're either him or you're here as his agent to speak on his behalf. Are you either of those? Yes, it's awful. Pardon? He's in common law jurisdiction, which I established as soon as I came in here this morning and reestablished again. The bailiff understood me. This other bailiff, wherever she went, she understood me as well. And this gentleman doesn't like talking. We're going to take a recess. Thank you.
Thank you. All rise.
How long? How long, sir? I don't have all day. Thank you. I have things to do. We'll take the court. Yeah, actually, please note that the judge has abandoned the court. It's abandoned ship, and I, as the sovereign in this room, claim authority, case dismissed, with cause and prejudice. Have a nice day.
Who petitioned our father to have a system of lower and higher courts and judges. And I've been in and out of court, and I know you're tired of seeing me, Your Honor, but I have started driving reasonably. In fact, I turned my license in because I figured out that driving is a very expensive privilege. That's beyond a privilege. I am under treatment for manic episodes that I've had, and I have been...
How did you get here today? How did you get here today?
My son.
Where is he?
Outside.
Bring him in. Deputy, bring him in.
He's, I don't know where he is.
He's not outside in the hallway?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
And at any rate, beside all this, I've tried to bring this up many times about standing, and you're aware of standing, and you might think, well, traffic court is not the same as a criminal court or even a civil court, but, the rule of law, it has to apply in any case. It's serious. I could go to jail for some of the traffic offenses, and standing is an issue. Now, if you look on there, I have reserved my rights under UCC 1-207, my common law rights, which gives me the ability to go to the Florida statutes and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and take it out of the UCC. It's supposed to protect me from entering into hidden clauses and partial contracts. And I have done much research, and I know I'm right about this. The law library is filled. I could go and give you 3 statutes from every state of the union that talks about what standing is and what it takes for a plaintiff to bring action against me.
All right. Anything else?
And if all else fails, as I've told you before, I would love for the state to recognize me as an ambassador of our Heavenly Father. The Veterans Administration has as much as declared that I am a prophet in 1988. And if you have looked at the internet, and you have looked at some of my blogs, and I put prophecies regularly on Facebook, and every one of them comes to pass exactly as I write them. And if all else fails, I would love for the court to just recognize the fact that I am an ambassador of our Heavenly Father and grant me diplomatic immunity if all else fails.
All right, anything else? Have a seat, Mr. Oldham. Have a seat also. I'll take a 2-minute recess. Gentlemen, I'll take a 2-minute recess. Have a seat. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, folks, thank you all very much. We're resuming the matter, Mr. Oldham. Come on up, sir. Okay, Mr. Oldham, what I'm going to do now is I'm having a little trouble with my computer here. Mr. Oldham, I've considered everything. Anything else you want to say before I wrap it up? I listened to you about your standing issues and all. You've done a lot of good research.
Yes, sir. And I wasn't, I was being truthful when I said you are my favorite judge.
Pardon me?
I've seen many of these judges here in this courtroom, and you are my favorite judge. I was not. I'm serious about that. But if you do find me guilty, all I would ask is that you wouldn't adjudicate. That's all I would ask.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to tell you that these officers, you see them come here every day?
Yes, sir.
As you heard and yourself, they are very compassionate people. People go at 60, but they know what the fine is. They know times are so hard on the citizens, and they give a lot of people breaks. And as the officer said, you were not argumentative. You were pretty nice to him, you know. And let me make a few comments on you. One, folks like you are what keep this democracy alive, because you do the homework, you do the research, you insist on following the Constitution. That's a remarkable thing. That's a wonderful thing. You need to always question the government. Don't just go along and be afraid. Don't be scared of the government. The government should be scared of the people. The people shouldn't be scared of the government. And that's wonderful that citizens like you challenge the government, you do your homework, you come to court, you get a chance to be heard. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate and respect everything. But that, when I review a case, I got to review it by the facts. And so based on everything the officer said and everything else, I'm going to have to find you guilty of this charge, okay? Based on the facts only, nothing else. But I looked at your record and all, and I'm going to cut you some slack. I'm going to withhold the points.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to withhold the points on you. But you're not driving anymore.
No, sir.
Don't let his officer see you driving again. They're just squealing the tires to begin with. What's that all about? You were just trying out something? Did you ever serve in the military?
Yes, sir.
Which branch?
The United States Army.
How long?
I spent 7 years, and then I filed as a conscientious objector due to my religious beliefs. And I was granted, took a while, but I was granted 100% disability, serving honorably. And I was retired honorably. Sent out to pasture at 25 for filing for my rights under Army Regulation 1AO, and they just were not going to see that either.
I'll give you until June 5th to pay, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to withhold the points. And thank you for everything you do for our country. Thank you, officer.
Thank you.
That's my last case. Will you dismiss?
Have a good day. Mr. Oldham?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give you a gift. I'll give you a copy of the stay right there. I'll give you a copy of the United States Constitution, okay?
Thank you.
That's for me. Happy New Year.
You too. I wish you would have considered diplomatic immunity.
I have considered it. I have considered it. Believe me, that's why I went back there. I thought about it a long time. But if I give you diplomatic immunity, I have to give you diplomatic immunity on everything that you can go about and do as you wish. And I know that's not what you want to do. But I have considered that. Believe me, I didn't take it lightly.
You would know that I have a law that I keep that is binds me to a higher law than most people would ever be bound to. And you wouldn't have to worry if you did grant me diplomatic immunity of me taking advantage of that and doing things that an ordinary citizen would not do. I am bound by a higher law.
Well, God bless you. God bless you, my friend. Have a good day.